Hello, welcome to Popcorn Recap, and today we will be talking about the TV show, The Stråiñ. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. The show begins with Regis Air 753 airplane, originating in Berlin, arriving to New York Airport. Captain Redfern reminds his passengers that they are landing. Meanwhile, Peter calls Rose to come to the other side of the plane. Despite Rose's resistance, Peter remarks that it is important and that it cannot wait until later. Eventually, Rose walks through the passengers to reach Peter. When Rose reaches Peter, Rose asks Peter what did he do. Peter exclaims in urgency that there is something alive in the cargo hold. Rose, in surprise, asks him to lower his voice. A male passenger looks at them with curiosity. Rose closes the curtains for privacy. After that, Rose and Peter continue their conversation. Rose tells Peter that it is just a dog, but Peter answers that it couldn't possibly be a dog, because it is something big. Rose touches the latch to the cargo hold, and feels it. She then opens the latch. Rose hears a distant growling sound, and heavy footsteps. She then closes the latch. Peter asks her if she sees something. Rose tells Peter that it is probably nothing. However, before Rose continues speaking, something down the cargo hold bangs on the latch. In shock, Rose tells Peter to call Captain Redfern, to warn the landing crew, and get emergency services. After a few seconds, Rose cannot hold the latch anymore, and she steps away from it. The banging continues. Rose and Peter stand away from the latch terrified, until the latch cracks open, revealing a huge hideous monster eventually knocking down Rose and Peter. Meanwhile, one of the landing crew spots Regis Air 753 stopped on the service apron. The landing crew tells Peter. Peter is surprised, exclaiming that the service apron is dead and that it is a blind spot. The landing crew replies that the plane just shut down. Peter checks Regis Air 753 through radio and receives no response. Peter then advises the landing crew to clear all the gates and advise reroute. Peter and the landing crew goes out and sees the plane. The two of them approach it. Peter touches it and remarks that the plane feels cold like a dead animal. Peter continues saying that there is something really wrong. The two of them find the windows of the plane are all shut except for one. All of a sudden, police cars arrive at the area. Meanwhile, Dr. Ephraim Goodweather, an epidemiologist, goes to his court-appointed custody counseling session where he is late 4 times. He sees his son Zach, who greets him. Ephraim gives kisses to Zach, and proceeds to an office where Kelly, his wife and the counselor, have been waiting for him. During the session, the counselor warns Ephraim about being late, and Kelly keeps on telling Ephraim that he is barely present in their lives. A call from Ephraim's phone interrupts the session, making Kelly excuses Ephraim. Following this, Ephraim arrives at the area where the plane landed. Nora and Jimbo meet him, and lead him to the exact location of the plane. He then learns that there are no movements from the plane for over an hour since the plane landed. The police let Ephraim listen to a device where he hears static rustling noise coming from the inside. The police tells Ephraim for CDC to take a backseat. Ephraim explains to the police how the plague begins and asks them if the police want to be the one entering the plane to investigate. Meanwhile, in an antique shop, Gus, with his brother, attempt to sell a silver wristwatch and steal bills from its old owner, Abraham. Abraham successfully stops them and let them flee the shop. As Gus and his brother get out of the shop, Abraham catches the news on his television about the Regis Air 753. Abraham is taken aback. He goes down to his chamber under his shop and picks up a silver sword with a spiral snake handle on it. He sits down next to a jar containing a heart soaked in a liquid. He remarks that someone is back again, and that he is not sure if he has the strength to do it again this time. He also remarks that he cannot fail. He then cuts his finger and drops the blood in the jar. The heart begins moving, and small worm-like creature begins to reach and suck the blood. Back to the plane, Ephraim and Nora finally enter the airplane, wearing protective hazmat suits and holding night vision camera. Outside, Peter, the police and Jimbo are monitoring their movements on screen. Ephraim and Nora find all the passengers dead. They begin thoroughly checking the body, and conclude that there are no signs of distress, struggle, or trauma. Nora suggests that they use UV lights after she finds signs of ammonia. To their surprise, they see green smears all over the place. Nora states that there are biological patterns to it. Eventually, the two of them separate ways. Ephraim checks the cargo hold and tells Jimbo to check the luggage of biological agents and ammonia spectrum. Meanwhile, Nora checks the other side of the plane, discovering the cockpit open. Jimbo warns Nora, but she continues to enter the cockpit, and discovers Captain Redfern, one passenger, to be alive. Jimbo tells Ephraim that Nora is alone in the cockpit, and he must go to her. As Ephraim goes to Nora, an alive passenger stops him. To his surprise, Ephraim requests for paramedics announcing that there are survivors. Meanwhile, Herr Eichhorst arrives at the Stoneheart group where he finds Mr. Palmer currently on his dialysis. Mr. Fitzwilliam, worker of Stoneheart, meets him. After a while, when Mr. Palmer's dialysis is completed, Herr Eichhorst announced the news that the cargo and the 4 passengers they need has arrived. Following this, Everett arrives at the location. Ephraim, Nora, and Jimbo meet him. Everett asks them to clarify what happened. Nora tells Everett that they still need to figure out what happened. Nora also tells Everett that they will be talking to the family of the survivors. Everett then insists on having press. With this, Nora warns Everett not to bring press. Everett eventually agrees. After this, Ephraim, Nora, and Jimbo checks on the 4 passengers, Captain Redfern, Joan Luss, Mr. Barber, and Mr. Bolivar, who are now in quarantine. Ephraim and Nora ask Captain Redfern if he took something during the flight. Captain Redfern explains that he doesn't remember taking anything, and that he just remembers the events before the plane shut down. Ephraim also asks Mr. Bolivar the same question, but he does not get anything useful. Eventually, Jimbo asks Ephraim to go with him in the cargo area. Ephraim, Nora, and Jimbo go to the cargo area and find Peter with a huge ancient wooden rectangular box with hand carvings on it. Nora states that it looks like a coffin. Ephraim asks Peter, Nora, and Jimbo to help him open the wooden rectangular box. When they open it, the 4 discover soil inside it. Ephraim tells Peter to call Berlin and ask about the wooden rectangular box. After a moment, Nora also finds a latch that locks on the inside. Meanwhile, Kelly and his new boyfriend, along with Zach, watch the news regarding the plane. Zach remarks that whatever is happening, he is sure that his father will handle it. Zach then says goodnight to Kelly, and sends a text message to Ephraim that he worries about him. Following this, Ephraim receives the message and he replies back to Zach with assurance. After this, Nora calls him and tells him that the families of the survivors arrived. Nora then assures Ephraim that she will be there for him always. Eventually, Peter calls Berlin, and asks about the wooden rectangular box. To his frustration, he did not get any useful information. After the call, he hears a high-pitched ringing sound, and a distant groan with low rumbling. He follows it, and it leads him to a huge dark brown cloak laying on the ground. He spots a sudden movement inside it. He approaches it, and it quickly stands. It reveals a huge hideous monster. It grabs Peter's neck. The monster reveals a long flesh from inside his cloak with fangs on its edge. The fangs reach Peter's neck, and impale him. The monster drains the life out of Peter. It then cracks Peter's neck, and throws him to the ground. The monster finally crushes Peter's head, using its hand, before leaving quickly. Meanwhile, Herr Eichhorst asks the assistance of Gus to get a vehicle from the airport with 3 rules. He must examine the cargo, he must not make any stops, and he must cross the bridge back to Manhattan before daybreak, in exchange to fix his brother's criminal records and mother's migration status. Gus initially refuses, but Herr Eichhorst eventually convinces him. Following this, Abraham goes to the airport. He passes through Mr. Bolivar's fans and pretends that he has a medical condition to get through the police. Abraham meets Jimbo, and asks him that he needs to talk to the person in charge. Meanwhile, Ephraim faces the family of the passengers. To his surprise, there are also press waiting for him. Ephraim tells the families and the press that they still have to figure out what happened to the plane and its passengers. After a moment, a father named Mr. Arnault approaches Ephraim and slaps him. The father asks Ephraim that he needs to see his child and that they need to stop talking and start doing something. Ephraim tells everyone to give them 48 hours to figure things out, and they will get back to them. After this, Ephraim and Nora learn from the medical examiner that there are same incisions found in the bodies of the passengers that cannot be cut by any normal medical devices or instruments. They also learn that instead of blood, white liquid comes out of bodies. While Ephraim and Nora are on their way to the cargo hold, Jimbo introduces them to Abraham, who claims that he knows about the disease. Ephraim tells Jimbo to take care of Abraham because they have more important things to do. To their surprise, when they are about to leave, Abraham begins talking about the bodies not decomposing, and the bodies of those who survived or died must be destroyed. To their shock, Abraham also knows about the wooden rectangular box and calls it his coffin. While the medical examiner checks the bodies under UV lights, Ephraim and Nora investigates the cargo hold where they see a worm-like creature, and they conclude it is the carrier. Nora also finds soil with the same worm-like creatures in it. Eventually they run to the wooden rectangular box's location, but they did not find it there. The two of them check the CCTV footage and see a fast-moving creature grabbing and lifting the wooden rectangular box in a rapid motion. After this, Ephraim asks Jimbo to secure the perimeter of the airport and make sure no vehicles that can hold the wooden rectangular box pass through. However, Gus manages to get through the police and Jimbo. Meanwhile, the medical examiner continues checking on the bodies. He then discovers the heart he removed from one of the bodies contains worm-like creatures. One worm-like creature tries to get inside his hand, but he manages to remove it. To his surprise, the bodies begin to wake up and eat him alive. Meanwhile, Herr Eichhorst and Mr. Palmer talks about a new beginning for them. Mr. Palmer also mentions Abraham getting arrested at the airport. Herr Eichhorst assures Mr. Palmer that he will take care of Abraham. Meanwhile, Mr. Arnaud goes home feeling distraught. To his surprise, his daughter goes home feeling cold and looking unwell. Mr. Arnaud then embraces his daughter tightly. Following this, Fett prepares to hunt and begins cleaning his weapon. Meanwhile, Gus manages to deliver the coffin to a secluded area. However, he runs away terrified after the coffin moves hysterically. At the airport, Ephraim and Nora investigates the death of Peter. Eventually, the two of them go to the quarantine facility, where they see that the 4 survivors are ready to leave. Even Ephraim insists that they must stay. They still go with their decision to leave. Meanwhile, Herr Eichhorst visits Abraham in jail and belittles and threatens him. He tells Abraham that he will not win against them. Eventually, Everett introduces Ephraim and Nora to Margaret Pearson. Margaret shows them Regis Air documents pointing to a system failure aboard Flight 753. Margaret then informs them that the investigation will now be under National Transportation Safety Board. Ephraim tells Margaret that the passengers did not die of a faulty air system, but from a virulent pathogen. Margaret tells him that investigating this further will threaten the exports and stock market of New York. After this, Ephraim and Nora talk to Captain Redfern, who admits that he knows about the coffin. They learn that the coffin is put in the plane last 2 minutes before the flight by 4 officials in suit. As Ephraim and Nora continues their investigation, they find out that the worm-like creature they acquired from the plane is attracted to blood. Meanwhile, at a restaurant, Mr. Bolivar eats lunch with his producer, Ruby and Joan Luss. During their lunch, Joan keeps hearing high-pitched noises. Same as Mr. Bolivar. Joan also notices that she unintentionally spits blood on her champagne. Following this, when Mr. Bolivar goes back to his place and have fun with 3 girls, he feels the urge to bite one of the girls' necks. After he bites the girl's neck, the 3 girls leave his house hysterically. As they run, the bitten girl leaves droplets of blood on the floor. Mr. Bolivar then licks the blood on the floor aggressively. After this, Ephraim and Nora check on Captain Redfern. They discover through UV lights that there are worm-like creatures living inside of him, which is why he feels ill. Meanwhile, Herr Eichhorst and Mr. Palmer meet. Mr. Palmer finally sees the huge hideous monster's face. It tells Mr. Palmer to look at him. Mr. Palmer almost tears up while looking at the monster. The show ends with Mr. Arnaud bathing his daughter. As he is about to get her from the bathtub, her daughter releases a long flesh from her mouth and uses it to suck blood from Mr. Arnaud's neck, killing him instantly.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like. It really helps the channel.